Hello everyone. So in this particular video, we are going to do one end-to-end Azure data engineering project. In this particular project, we are going to use Azure Data Lake Storage account. We are going to use Azure Data Factory for the data pipeline. We are going to use a Databricks for the data cleaning operation, and also we are going to do a visualization. So end to end we are going to do the project, and how actually we work in a industry, right? In the similar way we are going to work here also. So in a mostly whenever you will work for any company, right? So what is the process? First you get a requirement. First you get a requirement from your business owner and the stakeholders, you can say. First we get a requirement. Now after that, once we get the requirement as a data engineer or as a data analyst, what actually we do, we try to understand the requirement. We try to understand the requirement. That is the second step. After understanding the requirement, what actually we do, we try to check the data, whether whatever the business is asking, whether the data is readily available or not, whether the particular matrix whatever business is asking, whether the particular data is available or not. If the data is not available, then we think about the solutioning, like how actually we can bring the data, and how actually we can derive. So we think about the solutioning part, and after that we start creating the data pipelines based on the business ask to bring the data, and finally we do all the kind of the data cleaning and the derivation of the business ask. So this kind of the process we follow in the industry. Here also we are going to follow in the similar way. So we have got one of the business requirement. So first we will try to understand what business is asking, and after that we will think about the solutioning part, and finally we will derive the matrix what business is asking. So this is a complete end to end. So let's start, and let's first understand what is the business requirement. So we are working for the retail clients, and we have a transaction related data. Business wants to analyze business performance, and they have given some multiple metrics which we have to derive. So we are working for the retail partner, or you can say retail clients, and they have a transaction related data, and based on the transaction related data we had to derive certain metrics which business has asked. If I show you what actually they are asking, they want to know what is the daily revenue and what is the daily purchase. They want to know what is the revenue by the payment method. They want to know the store performance. They want to know the revenue contribution. They want to know the product category sales. This kind of the business metrics they are asking. Now we have given some nodes. Now once we get the requirement this, right, as a data engineer what actually you will do? As a data engineer, first you will check whether your data is readily available or not. So you can see in the notes it is mentioned data is not readily available. So we need to, so as a data engineer we need to create a pipeline which will fetch the data from API and store in the ADLS location. So what is happening? Our data is not readily available in a data lake storage account. Our data is coming from a API. So this is a API. From a API the data is coming, all the transaction related data is coming. So what we had to do as a data engineer, we had to fetch the data from the API, and we had to bring this data into a Azure Data Lake Storage account. So to bring the data into Azure Data Lake Storage account, what actually we will use? We will use a data factory. We will use a data factory. With the help of the data factory, we will create one pipeline which will fetch the data from this particular API, and this will bring the data into the Azure Data Lake Storage account. So we had to create a pipeline. Once we have data available in a ADLS location, we had to create a silver data set to clean the data. Now once we have data available in a ADLS, right, we had to clean the data. So you can see here, right, we have a multiple steps. So what actually we will do? We'll use a Databricks. We'll use a Databricks. With the help of the Databricks, first we will try to read whatever the data is available into the Azure Data Lake Storage account. So first we will read the bronze layer. Bronze layer means whatever the data you are fetching from API, right, that we are bringing into the ADLS, that is nothing but that is a bronze. That is a bronze data. Means whatever the data we are coming from a API, right, whatever the data we are bringing into the ADLS, that is nothing but a bronze layer. So with the help of the Databricks, we will try to read the data which is available into the ADLS location. Now what is the second step? In the second step, in the silver layer, right, what actually we'll do? We'll try to clean the data. We'll try to clean the data. So in this data, right, whatever the data we are getting, in this data maybe duplicate records may be there. some null values will be there, means you have to do some kind of the filtration, means you have to clean the data. So that actually we will do in a silver layer, and finally we will store the data into a silver layer folder into the ADLS. Now once we have a silver layer table or silver layer data set available, what actually we'll do, we'll try to derive from this clean data set. What actually we'll do, we'll try to derive the matrix what business is asking. Means this all the matrix we'll try to derive. We'll try to derive and we'll try to store into the gold data set. So gold is nothing but one kind of the data set, or you can say one kind of the table, and this table we will share with the clients. We can share with the clients, or we can create a visualization for this. We can create a visualization for this. Means all the kind of the aggregate you will perform into the gold data set and gold layer aggregate. So what is a bronze layer? Bronze layer means whatever the data coming as it is from API, right, we are bringing into the ADLS, that is nothing but a bronze layer. Now once we have data available in a bronze layer, we will try to clean the data, that is nothing but a silver layer. Now the third is like whatever the aggregate to calculate this matrix we will do, right, that is a gold layer, and this is the most widely used in the industry, and that we call it as a medallion architecture. Medallion architecture. These are the some steps we follow to derive the certain matrix if your data is not readily available. So these are the steps we are going to perform. Now if I'll show you the data, how actually our data looks like. So this is the data we have available. So what actually I have done for the API, right? So we don't have any API like the application. So what I have done, I have created a file and I have stored into the GitHub. Now in GitHub, right, you can see we are getting the data in the JSON format. These are the data, all the transaction related data like transaction ID, customer age, gender related details, product related details, subcategory, brand, amount, discount, like the multiple things we are getting, store ID, store region. These are the things actually we are getting. Now what we had to do, we had to fetch the data from this particular URL and we had to bring into the ADLS location. If I'll show you, if you had to click on the raw first. Once you'll click on the raw, right, this is the data. So you consider it as a this is coming from the API. Now this is the URL of the API. We had to fetch this data and we had to bring this data into a ADLS location. And this kind of the stuff generally happens in a real time also. So what we are going to do, we are going to bring this data. So for that we had to create a pipeline. So how actually we can create a data pipeline? So in Azure we are going to use a Azure Data Factory. So what you have to do, so I open my Azure account. What actually we are going to do, we are going to create a ADLS account. So to create a ADLS account, we have to search for the storage. Click on the storage account. So you can see it is going to create a blob storage. So for the ADLS and blob storage, we follow the same step. Click on the create. First, you have to create a resource group. If you haven't created any resource group, click on the create new, give the resource group name and click on the OK. This is going to create a one resource group for you. After that, we have to select the storage account name. So make sure it should be unique. So I'm going to give the name as a POC retail project something. Make sure this should be unique. And after that, you select the region. I'm going to select the region as a US East US2. And after that, performance we are going with the standard. Go click on the next. And if you want to convert this blob storage, so we are creating a blob storage, right? If you want to convert into the ADLS account, so you can see hierarchical namespace. So this will enable the Azure Data Lake Storage. From blob storage it will convert into the data lake storage. So click on the enable. So this is going to create a ADLS account for you. Click on the next. We'll go with by default other thing and we'll click on the review and the create. Once you will review, right, whatever the selection you have done, after that the deployment will start, and once the deployment will complete, right, you can see click on the create, deployment is start. Now once the deployment will complete, we will be able to see about the ADLS account. Now you can see deployment is complete. So click on the go to resource. You can see POC retail project. This is the ADLS account we have given. Go to the data storage. In the container, we can see our container. We are going to create a container. So I am going to create a container name as a bronze. I will bring the data, all the bronze data into this particular container. So click on the create. This is going to create a bronze container. I'm going to create another container that is a silver. So all the silver data set will be available here. I'm going to create another container that is a gold. So 3 container I have created to store the bronze, silver and the gold data set. And now what we have to do in the bronze light, whatever the data is available in a API, right, we have to fetch and we have to bring here. So how actually we can do for that, we have to create a data pipeline. So I'm going to use a data factory for that. So search for the data factory, open in a new tab. We are going to create a Azure Data Factory account now. After that, we have to create a data factory. So click on the create, select the resource group, and after that name you have to give. I will give the name as a POC Data Factory. Make sure it is unique. And after that the region you can select. And after that click on the next, review and the create. We'll go with the by default other thing. Click on the create. You can see deployment is in progress, so we have to wait it to be complete. In deployment is complete, go to resource, and after that you can see POC Data Factory, right? Click on the POC Data Factory, click on the Launch Studio. This is going to open Azure Data Factory. Now after that we will try to create a data pipeline, and what data pipeline will do, that will fetch the data from this particular URL or API you can say, and that will bring into the ADLS account. So this is opening a data factory account. Now before to that, what actually I have done in ADLS, I have created a multiple container, right? Instead of that, what actually I'm going to do, I'm going to create one container, retail. This is the container I am going to create, retail, because the project name is retail, right? In this I'm going to create that. Under this retail container, I am going to create a bronze, gold and the silver, because the multiple container, instead of creating a multiple container, this I can delete. Click here and click on the delete. It is going to delete this particular container, because this we are not going to use that, right? We are going to use a retail container. Under this retail container, this particular retail container, we are going to create a multiple directory. So I am going to create one directory, bronze. I am going to create one more directory, that is for the silver. Name you can give silver, and I am going to create one more, that is a gold. This is the directory I am going to give. So 3 directory got created. So in ADLS we have created one retail. Under this retail we have a 3 folder. Now in the bronze, right, we had to get the data from the GitHub, from the API. So what actually we'll do, we have created a data factory, right? Now go to the author, click on the pipeline, click on the new pipeline. We are going to create a new pipeline, and for that what actually we are going to use, in the move and transfer we are going to use a copy data. So drag that. First we have to go to the source, we have to create a data set. So how actually we can do that? Click on the new, and what is our source? Source is our this particular location, right? HTTPS, or you can say from this particular URL we have to fetch the data, right? So what actually we will do, we'll select the HTTP. From here only we want to bring the data. Click on the continue. Our data is in JSON format, so select that. And after that we have to create a link service. So click on the new, we are going to create a link service. Now we have loaded our data into the GitHub. This is the GitHub, right? Now once you will come to the GitHub, go to the raw. Once you will go into the raw, right, you will get this particular URL. From this URL we are going to fetch the data. So till this here, right, till.com, just copy it. This is nothing but this is a base URL. So till.com, I have just copied it and I have pasted into the base URL. Authentication type, because this is a public one, so I am going to use anonymous, but if you have a username password you can select that. Click on the test connection. You can see connection is successful. Click on the create, Now after that the relative URL. So previously what we have passed till .com, right? After that whatever the URL, right, you just copy it and you paste into the relative URL. In the relative URL, click on the OK. Our source is ready. If you want to preview data, click on the preview data and let's see whether you are able to preview the data. You can see we are able to preview the data. Now in the sink where you want to store the data, in a ADLS. So click on the plus in a ADLS, select that, continue. I want to store into the Parquet because Parquet is most widely used in industry for the big data. Click on the continue. I want to create a new link service. Select the subscription, select the storage account, and after that you test the connection. Click on the create. After that where you want to store, so you have to select that root folder. So I want to store into the retail container. Under the retail container we have a branch folder, so there actually I want to store. So it will show you the folder. So you can say retail, this is the container, retail container. I'm going to use that. Click on the branch, click on the OK, click on the OK. Now if you want to run this, right, you can click on the debug. Now our pipeline will start running. Now what will happen, it will fetch the data from our API and it will bring the data into a ADLS. So in our storage account, right, in the storage account we have created this retail container. Under this retail container we have a three folder: bronze, silver and the gold. In the bronze we are bringing the data. So let's see whether our pipeline is succeed or not. You can see still it is running. So click on the refresh. It is succeed now. Now if I'll go into the location, go to the branch, you can see multiple folders got created. Why it's got created? Because if you'll see in the relative URL, right, we are passing a multiple slash, so that's why it considered as a folder. But as of now let it be, but that also we can handle that. You can see, let's see whether our data is available or not, because that is important. You can see bronze retail data dot parquet, in the parquet format our data is available. Now our whatever the data was available in API, we have bring the data into ADLS. Now we are going to use a Databricks to clean the data. So what actually I will do, I'll open a Databricks. So either you can use a Databricks, either you can use a Azure Databricks, or you can use a community edition. What actually I am going to do, I am going to use a community edition because that is a free one, and I am going to mount the ADLS account. So what you have to do, once you will open the community edition Databricks, right, you have to go into the compute. You have to click on the create compute. One cluster will be created. You can see I have already created a cluster, and after that I'll go into the workspace. In the workspace, right, I have click on the create, click on the folder. I am going to create one folder, Azure Data Engineer Projects. This I have already created. Click on that. Under this I have created a new notebook. So once you click on the notebook, retail projects will be available. Because I already created a cluster, I can select from here. So select that. Now to mount the data, whatever the data is available in a ADLS, right, we have to mount that so that we will be able to read that. So for that, this is the code. I'll explain you how this code looks like. So it is a Python code, so select the Python one. Now in the source, right, so you have to pass the actual name. So what is our ADLS? So ADLS account name is POC retail project. So copy this and here you have to pass, after at the rate, right, you have to pass the particular ADLS account name. Now what is the container? So container is the retail, right? This particular container I want to mount. So container name is retail, right? So I'll use the retail. So and after that I want to mount, you can raise retail. So what is the path I am giving? So instead of showing the whole path in the mount and the retail, this is the particular mount point I am giving. So with the help of the mount and retail, you will be able to fetch the data. Now after that, here in a config we have to pass something. First you have to pass the storage account name. So what is our storage account name? This is the POC retail project, right? So that you have to pass. And after that, what actually you had to do, you had to pass the access key. You have to pass the access key. So for that, what you have to do, go into the particular ADLS account. What we have to do in a security and networking, right? Go to the access key. In access key, you can see we are getting a two option. One is the key 1 and the key 2. Select the key 1. Copy this. This is the access key. With that, we will be able to read that. So copy this. Go here, and here only we have to pass the our access key, whatever the access key is available. After passing that, what we have to do, we have to execute. So execute, shift and enter. If you press, this will start executing. Now let's see whether we are able to mount the particular ADLS or not. So what actually we are doing, we are using a community edition. We are mounting the Azure Data Lake Storage account with the help of this particular code. So you can see it is true, we are able to mount. Now let's see whether we are able to read or not. So what actually I will write, dbutils dot fs dot ls. Let's see whether we are able, this is the mounting point, right? So I'll give this. I'll give this particular location and let's see whether we are able to read that or not. Now you can see we are able to read. So we have a mount and the branch, that is the one location. Then we have a retail and the gold, and then we have a silver. So let me show you. So if I'll do retail and the branch, you will see all the location, means whatever the ADLS location we have copied the data, right? We are able to see that. So if I'll show you, go to the container into the branch. In the branch we have a multiple folders, right? So that all the folders we are able to read from here. So what actually I will do, I'll go into the location, the final location. This is the particular file, right? So you have to click here, go to the properties. You will see one of the URLs, copy that, paste here, and this is the actual location. So this you can pass. So I will pass here. Let's see whether we are able to read or not. If I'll do this, you can see we are able to see this particular Parquet file. With this approach, we are able to mount the ADLS location and we are able to see that. Now, if you have to read that, if you have to read the file, so let's see how actually we can read that. So what actually I will use, I have one code. So first I am importing few SQL function, and after that I am going to create one data frame. So this is the bronze data frame. What actually it is doing, spark.read.parquet, because we are reading a Parquet, right? Spark.read.parquet, and after that you can pass this particular location. And after that, what actually we can do, if I'll do branch df dot show, so you can see we are able to read the file. So whatever the Parquet file which is available into the one branch folder, right, we are able to read that file. If you want to read it properly, right, so instead of dot show, what actually you can do, if you write a display, if you write display and the branch df, and if you'll execute, it will show you properly. So what we have done till now, let me explain you once again. So first we have to access the ADLS, right? So I have used this particular code to mount it. Once I have mounted it, right, actually I am creating one data frame. So what actually I am writing is part.read.parquet, this particular location, the Parquet file, right, we have to read. Now after that I am using a display branch df, so you can see I am able to read that. Means whatever the data is available in a branch, right, we are able to read that. Here you can see we have a transaction ID, customer age, gender, all the kinds of the details are available, amounts and all. Now what we have to do, we have to clean the data, we have to create a silver layer. So we have created the bronze layer. Now what actually we are going to do, we are going to create a silver data set. In the silver data set, what actually we had to do, we had to clean the data. So for that I already have a code. Let me explain you what actually I am doing. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it. So I have created one data frame. What is the data frame name? This bronze df is the data frame, right, through which I am able to read that. Now what actually I want, I have written a couple of query. In a silver layer, actually I am doing some kind of the filtering or the cleaning, you can say. So what is the first thing? First thing I am doing, let me do one by one. So I am reading the data from this bronze df, whatever the data, in a transaction id. Transaction id is a one of the column. So transaction id is a column, right? In the transaction id, as well as transaction id shouldn't be null. Transaction id is not null, customer id is not null, and transaction date is not null. That is the condition actually I want. Means I want only those data. I want to know only the valid data. So if any transaction id which is not null, if customer id which is not null, and also if transaction date is not null, means that is a valid data for me. So means I am only filtering those data where this all the values are present. So that is the first level of the cleaning I am doing, so to make sure like I am getting the proper data. If the transaction id is null, means right, that is not a proper data, that is a fake data, I can say. So if I'll show you dot show, or if you write display df clean, display df clean one, let me execute, let's see whether it's working or not. You can see now I am getting from this one data frame I have created, right? I am getting only the clean data, where only I am filtering where all the conditions are true, means which shouldn't be a null. So that is the one cleaning I have done. Now after that, what actually I will do, in a second layer cleaning, I am using this particular code. What does it is doing, I'll explain you. It is taking a reference from the df clean one. So in previously we have created one clean one, this is the new data frame, right? From this data frame I am going to convert this payment type into the upper, storage region into the upper, device use into the upper. Means I want to standardize the text field. So whatever the column we have, right, in a payment type, I will show you the payment type. One column is there, payment type. So you can see few places small case is coming, few places upper case is coming, means I want to convert everything in upper. So this particular field actually I am doing upper, this field actually I am doing upper, this field also I am doing upper, means I am standardizing the particular column. So for that I have written df clean one dot with column, I am going to do the upper. So let me execute this, it will going to convert everything into the uppercase. So if I'll show you, if I'll write display df clean 2, if I'll execute this, now if I'll go to the payment type, you can see everything got converted into the upper. Previously few places it was a lower, few places upper, right? Everything it got converted. Now that was the second. Now in the third, right, third actually I am doing one more cleaning. Let me explain you. So what actually I am doing, from that particular data frame I am taking, I am actually this transaction date. Transaction date is a one of the column. Transaction date is one of the column. If I'll show you here in the data, transaction date, you can see this transaction date, right? So I'm converting this into the proper timestamp. So I'm converting this into the proper timestamp, and after that this quantity, right, this casting actually I'm doing, I'm converting into the integer, amount actually I'm converting into the float, discount I'm converting into the float. Means I am doing some kind of the type casting here in the next step. All the kind of the type casting actually I am doing to convert into the proper. So this quantity, right, it should be an integer, amount, right, it should be a float, discount, it should be a float. So that kind of the cleaning actually I am doing. I'll execute this. And if you want to show this, if you want to see this clean 3, you can write display. Let's execute. Let's see whether it's working or not. You can see it is working. Now after that, in the fourth step, what actually I am doing? I am doing another cleaning operation. So in a silver data set, first we are cleaning a data, you understand, okay? So now we are filtering out the invalid quantity, negative value and excessive discount. So if we are getting any, so we are only considering the quantity should be greater than 0, amount should be greater than 0 and discount should be a less than or equal to the amount. So this kind of the filtering we are doing into this particular step. So this also, if I'll show you, so this will filter the negative values. Display. These are the important from the data cleaning so that we will get the proper data that we have to understand. Okay. You can see the filter, it's not closing properly. So this is another step I am doing. Now after doing this all the cleaning, right? If you, I want to drop the duplicate values. So if any kind of the duplicate values there, that actually I want to drop. So how actually I can do that? So for that also I have written one code. So actually I am whatever the duplicate transaction ID, right, that actually I am dropping. So click on the enter. So this kind of the cleaning I have done. So in a silver layer, what actually we do, from bronze layer all the data we read, we try to do some kind of the cleaning. Suppose you want to filter data, specific data based on the business ask, that you filter. Suppose any null values there, you handle that. Suppose you want to standardize the column values, suppose you want to do typecasting, everything we try to do in a silver layer data set. So that is the way. Now if you want to store into the ADLS, right, so whatever the cleaning data you had done, you want to also store. So where you want to store? So I am going to use a df clean 5. So this is the final data frame, right, that actually I want to write into the Parquet format. Method is override and where you want to store. So this you have to mention. So where I want to store? So if I'll show you my mount location, this is my mount location, right? This I'm empty and the retail. This is my mount location. I will use mount retail. And where you want to store? I want to store into the silver. So if I'll show you in ADLS location, this is my ADLS location. In this ADLS location, I have one silver container also. You can see in a retail container, we have a silver folder also. So here actually I want to store that. So what I will do, if I'll execute this particular query, the particular file should be available, the clean data should be available in the silver layer. So I'll execute this. You can see it is running. So all the steps, whatever the step I have done, right, one by one, everything I have written in a single way, in a similar way. And here actually I am executing and it is going to write into this particular location. So you can see it's got executed. Now if you'll go to the ADLS account, in the retail container in a silver, actually I am, you can see this file is available, this particular files, this we have pasted it. Now if you want to read that whether the particular file is available or not, how actually you can read that? So for that you have to write spark dot read dot parquet, which particular location, from this particular location I want to read that. Spark dot read dot parquet, and this particular location I want to read all the file. And now you can create one data frame, df equal to the silver df, and Let's see whether we are able to read from that particular location or not. So you can see I am able to read that. So this is our clean data. Whatever the cleaning we had done in a silver layer, right? I can see this is a clean data. Now after that, what actually we had to do, we had to create a gold data set, gold data set, gold data set, and we had to do some kind of the visualization. So what actually business is asking to us? Let me show you. They are asking to us daily revenue, revenue by payment method, store performance, loyalty, and the product category sales. So these are the thing actually business is asking. For that we have to build that. So what actually I am going to do, so this particular silver data set, right, this silver data set we have created, this I will read and I will convert into the one temporary view. How actually I can convert into the temporary view? So silver df dot create or replace temp view, create or replace temp view, and I am going to create a one temporary table. The name is a retail project. This is the, or I can say retail data. This is the temporary view I am creating. Let me execute this. Now what actually will happen, now you can write any kind of the SQL code. So you have to write %SQL. If I write select star from retail data, select star from retail data, if I'll do, you can see I am able to I am able to run the SQL query. Now I can derive any kind of the matrix, right? What business is asking. So let's try to derive one by one. Go here, daily revenue by purchase. What is the daily revenue by purchase? So first matrix is like daily revenue by purchase. Daily revenue by purchase. This is what actually they are asking. How actually you can derive the daily revenue by purchase. So how actually you will get the date. So date actually I will take it from a one of the field, that is a transaction date. So in the data, right, we have a transaction date. So if I show you transaction date, so this I will convert into the date format. So actually I am writing select date, transaction date, comma, uh, revenue. What is the revenue? So revenue is a sum of amount. Amount is the column that will tell you like what is the amount. This is the amount. So I am doing the sum of amount. Sum of amount is nothing but this is a total revenue. Total revenue. Total revenue. And also I want to know the total purchase. So we have a, what is the total purchase? So I will write count of distinct transaction ID. Transaction ID that will tell transaction ID. So we have a transaction ID field, right? So that transaction ID, with the help of that we'll get to know how many transaction is happening, what is number of purchases happening. So if I write count of distinct transaction ID, and I will group by 1, and if I'll execute this, so you can see on a daily basis, how actually the total revenue and how number of purchases happening, that actually we are getting. So you can give this name as a total purchase total underscore purchase. Execute this. So we have calculated on a daily basis how the revenue and the purchase is happening. Even though if you want to convert into the visualization, click on the visualization, and you can see in the trend wise you will get. So here you can see total revenue and the purchase. In a Y column we have a total revenue and the total purchase. In a data label, so data label, so you can see this color, right? This is the total purchase and this color is the total revenue that actually it is showing. So like that actually we can show in the visualization format also. Now after that, what is our next task? Next task is the revenue by payment method. What is the revenue by payment method? So if I'll show you in the data, right, what is the revenue? Revenue is a amount column, right? Now we have a one of the payment method. So payment method is nothing but this is a payment type kind of the query. So this is the I want to know the sum of amount, and I want to group based on the payment type. Payment payment type is a column and group by 2 if I'll do. So you can see revenue by payment method is coming. Now if you want to convert into the visualization, right, click on the visualization. And if you want to change this, right, suppose you want to create a pie chart, that also you can do that. So click on the save. So you will get the in visualization how the revenue by the payment is happening. Why? Next task is store performance. What is the store performance? I'll show you the data first. So we have a store location. Based on the store location, how their revenue is happening, that actually I want to know. So how actually I can do that? I'll write the same kind of the query and I will use a store location. So sum of amount I will do, and I will use a store location. Store location. Now if I'll group based on the two, based on the each store location, how their revenue is happening, I'm getting. So you can see this is the revenue. Now if you want to convert into this into visualization, click on this plus visualization and click on the data label, show data label. The number also you can see. So you can see in Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata, most of the sales is happening. So this kind of the visualization is very useful for the business. Now what actually we'll do, we'll derive the next one, loyalty level revenue contribution. So for this, what actually we'll do, so you can see we have one of the column. The column name is customer loyalty level. So based on the customer loyalty level, how the revenue is happening, that actually we want to know. So I will use the same, and I'm going to use the customer loyalty level. This is the one column. Based on that actually how the revenue is happening, that actually we want to know. So if I'll do this, if we'll execute this, you can see from platinum, silver, gold, bronze, we are getting this many things. Still we want to create a visualization, select that. If you want to create any other chart, that also you can do, or I'll use a bubble chart. That will not look good, so I'll use a pie chart only. Now after that, what we are going to product category sales. So we are going to derive the product category sales. Category sales. So copy, I'm just copying the sum of amount. Now we have one of the column that is telling the product category. What is the product category? So that we are going to select that. You can see the product category. Even based on the subcategory also you can do. Product category, how their sales is happening, that actually we want to know. So you can see we are getting the data. Like from home we are getting this, from grocery, from electronics, like this. So this is also a good insight. So select that, so the data level, click on the save. So like this actually we can derive. Now in this notebook, right, you can see we are showing the daily revenue by purchase. We are also showing the revenue by the payment type, store performance, loyalty level, and the product category sales. So this particular notebook actually we can share with them, so that they can see the and they can see the they can visualize this and they can use it for the business metrics perspective. So like that actually we do. Even though if you want to store this, right, if you want to store into the one table, that also you can do, and that table also you can share, or you can share this particular notebook, because here we have created the visualization. So that's how actually we work. So we share the particular notebook to them, and they can analyze these particular things. So like that actually we build. And also if you want to show in the Power BI or desktop, right, so what actually we do, whatever this aggregation we are doing, right, what actually we do, we try to insert in one table. So we'll create one table, we'll try to insert that. So like that actually also we do. So gold layer table also we create, or gold layer aggregate also we create. But as of now, from this business perspective, I think this is not required and it is sufficing. So I hope you got the idea. Yeah, that's it in this video. Please do practice, it's very important.